Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Yeah, I'm going to talk today a little bit about my books. Yeah, well, people have been asking, you see, here. So don't forget to like and subscribe. It's down there, folks, if you will. It helps a great deal. Don't forget to like it and subscribe it, and that's good. Yeah, and anyway, people will be asking me, when is part 3 coming out of my books, HMP Manchester Prison Officer? Well, I have completed the manuscript. It's 20 odd chapters and it's with the publisher now. I seriously believe it's going to be published in April. Part 3, HMP Manchester Prison Officer. So all those who've read my books, there it is. You can probably pre-order it through the publisher. It's Sean Atwood with Gadfly Publishing. So here we go. And I'm going to talk today what's happening in the prisons today. Well, I know that we're all worried about what happened yesterday when I was in there. But today, we've got massive overcrowding and we've got drugs. That's the big difference between what's happening now and what was happening then. So what we've got now is the prisons are flooded with drugs. I mean, I believe, so I am told by staff, that it's easier for inmates to get cocaine, spice, marijuana, etc. on the landings of Strangeways than it is on the streets of Salford. Now, how about that? Yeah? How is that happening? Well, it's happening because, and I have spoken to staff here, so I bang them out now. I've spoken to staff, serving staff, and they're telling me that their fellow officers are smuggling it in. Well, they will be, won't they? I mean, if they're getting paid the basic minimum wage and somebody is offering them £500, maybe £1,000 to bring in a box of spice or whatever it is that's no more than bigger than a packet of cigarettes, and they can tuck it inside your pants. Are you pleased to see me, or is that a box of cocaine? That kind of stuff, you know. Well, some of them are going to do that. I personally didn't take part in that kind of thing, and don't think I protest too much, because I absolutely didn't. You know, I mean, my father was a policeman, and it's very difficult, really, because as a young boy, I mean, you can read about this in my book, Screwed Up. That's another one of my books. It's on Amazon. Screwed Up. It's about my early life, yeah? Well, basically, my father was extremely strict. And the swinging 60s, I tell you what I saw the swinging 60s, factories and work. From the age of 15, I had 2 jobs. I worked first of all at Woolworths, and then when I'd finished working at Woolworths, I went and worked at the Odeon at night doing odd jobs, cleaning the boilers, running the films back, working with the projection unit and packing all the posters up, and generally dogs bodying, you know, till 10:30 at night. So from 9 in the morning when I reported for duty at Woolworths to 10:30 at night, I was working from the age of 15. At the age of 16, when I became old enough to work in the factories, I was working in the mills. And I trained to be a weaver, and I worked on there. You can read all about that. Happy days in my book, Screwed Up. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants a book signed, I will be there's a show in Manchester that's being promoted by Sean Atwood. It's called The Made Man Tour. It's a gangster called Michael Francesi, who was a member of the mob in New York, served time in jail and various other. Also was a part of the film Goodfellas, and he's doing a stage show in Manchester on the 25th of March. If you look online, Michael Francesi, that's with a Z, and look him up, the Made Man Tour, and it's on the 25th of March, starting at 6 o'clock. Then there's meet and greet with Michael and Sean Atwood's promoting this, and I will be there. So if you've got one of my books and you want me to sign it, I'll be at the theatre. It's the Monastery Theatre or something, I believe, yeah, in Manchester. So you can see me then on the 25th of March. Yeah, but we're talking about what's happening in the prisons today. Prisons today are overrun. They don't have screws nicks like they used to have when I was there. The screws nicks have gone. What we've got now is the hostess system from the girl with the tray. What will it be? Spice, cocaine, marijuana, or maybe just a sniff of the knickers? Pardon me, I'm not being a misogynist. Listen, I am not a misogynist. I've been married 54 years, and to do that, I mean, you can't be all that bad, can you? I mean, my wife thinks I am, but yeah, you can't really be, can you? Not really. I don't think you can. And I have a great admiration. The best manager I ever worked with was a lady, Sue Donovan. Yeah, so if Sue Donovan's watching, hello, Sue. You're looking well, by the way, considering I haven't seen you for 30 years. Yeah, no, Sue Donovan was the best manager I worked with. She was brilliant. When I was teaching adults with learning difficulties, it's a day centre in Lancashire. Time passes. Yeah, so what we got in the prisons today is utter chaos. They don't know what they're doing. They haven't got a clue. They're paying the staff virtual basic minimum wages. The staff can't cope. I mean, how are you going to rent a house or buy a house? How are you going to buy a house? Yeah? If you're on basic wages. You wouldn't buy a house if you worked on basic wages in London, would you? You can't buy a garage for that. So the staff are succumbing to temptation to a greater extent, and it's quite obvious that the system is broken. The Home Office knows the system's broken. The Ministry of Justice knows it's broken. Why? Because they're locking up their prison officers. A lot of them females as well, who are having, what do they call it now, inappropriate relationships with inmates. Yeah. That's a euphemism, by the way, folks. That's a euphemism for getting your knickers off and getting rogered in the jails. I'm going to read you a poem now. There you are. Look at that scruffy old thing here. I spilt soup down my jacket. Yeah. I'm not homophobic, by the way. I have a joke about it, but I absolutely do respect people's decisions to orientate themselves as they see right. It's not for me, by the way. As I say, 54 years married, so I think I made my decision some time ago. I got married on my 21st birthday, you know. This is a poem that I wrote in my book, by the way. It's another one of my books, yeah. You can probably see it there, yeah. Flowers and Collected Poems by John G. Sutton. This is the fairy at the bottom of our street. Down the bottom of our street, where the dogs and cats run free, I was walking and whistling when a fairy said to me, "You look lovely. You look handsome. Would you like to make a wish?" Well, I thought just for a moment of the things to bring me bliss. Maybe holidays, lots of money, new clothes for my wife Mary. "I will definitely want to," said I to the fairy. He was a proper little fellow. Green tunic, bright red cap, leather belt, tight trousers, then he gave his hands a clap. "You must tell me what your wish is." He spoke those words so sweet, and the silver buckles sparkled on the boots upon his feet. Why, I would wish for money, lots of ale, and so much more. The fairy stood and listened, softly staring at the floor. "Yes, "Your wish, sir, shall be granted," the fairy said with glee, and I said a prayer to heaven, so glad to be just me. "But there is one condition, something you must do," he said. I pondered and wondered as the fairy shook his head. Then he cuddled up much closer, and I dreamed of that and this. "You look lovely. You look handsome. Now give me a kiss." So I stared at the fairy, thought about the money and wish. "Oh, go on then," I answered as he puckered up his lip. "Now, no one is perfect. We all can make a slip." As I fastened up my trousers and walked back up the street, I turned and heard laughter that made me stop my feet. "How old are you, fine fellow?" the fairy gave a shout. "A little over 40, I said, or thereabout. I could see that he was smiling. He wore a silly grin. Then I knew that I'd been suckered. Yes, I'd been taken in. "You're too old to believe in fairies," I heard him call and laugh, so I turned, feeling foolish, and went home to take a bath. Now, people, there's a moral, a lesson for you all. If you chance to meet a fairy, if the leprechauns do call, if you're tempted by the goblins, and you dare to make a wish, beware the little fairy who tries to take a kiss. Things have passed since I met him, where the cats and dogs run free, but I never will forget what that fairy did to me. My wish, well, I'm still waiting, and money is quite sparse, and despite all my wishing, all I got was a sore arse. The Fairy at the Bottom of My Street by John G. Sutton. Tales from the Jails. Don't forget to like and subscribe.